Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be decorating the journal that we made last week with mostly free items. Some of them were from the Dollar Tree, but most of them were free items. And we're going to continue that theme inside the journal here. So I'm checking my measurements to see how big I need the paper inside to be for my sections. And you just take the width that you want your papers, and then you double it because you're going to be folding them in half. So that's what I'm doing here, and I didn't want to do like a clean cut on all of them, so you'll see me take my tear ruler, my DIY tear ruler, and I'll rip some of the pages that way. But I'm going to take these pages, I'm going to throw on some Dollar Tree watercolor, maybe some ink, and it's just going to look real grungy. And that's what I love about my junk journals, is that I make things look old, or I make things look like, you know, they've been used before. I like making vintage things for my journals. But in this journal, I stuck to pinks and reds because that's the color floral that I was using for my embellishments. So I wanted to keep everything, you know, on the pink and red side, but of course I had to add brown and black because that distresses things. So that's all I'm going to do here. I will add some music so you can just kind of watch me junk up these pages, and don't mind the pink stuff in the back, those pink cardboard pieces. I'll tell you what I was going to do. So I planned on using the pink cardboard pieces as like a stack the deck kind of spine, but I went against it. Number one, because I didn't like the way I use cereal boxes. You see them sitting back there. I took the clip out where I was painting them and cutting them down to size and everything because I decided not to end up going with it. Instead of going with that, I went with a binding method that's going to use the cotton twine that you get at the Dollar Tree and just a hole punch. So when that comes up, I'll show you how I did that. And I'm going to tell you a really funny story before I set this to music. Okay, so it kind of has to do, it doesn't have anything to do with the video, but it has to do with my last video. So last video I apologized for my nails, and I told you I was going to get them done that day, and I did. And as you can see in this video, they're super pretty, but they're not pretty anymore. Let me explain why they're not pretty anymore. So yesterday I went to the gym. I can't even tell the story without giggling, so you're going to hear me giggle throughout the story. So yesterday I went to the gym, and I got on the bike, and I didn't like the way that the bike was like turning off and on. I guess it's because I was trying to connect my earbuds to my phone, and so I wasn't consistently pedaling, and so it kept turning off and on. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get on the treadmill. It's just easier to get on the treadmill. I should have never gotten on the treadmill. So I get on the treadmill, and I work myself up to, you know, a good pace. It's not fast or anything. I'm not running, for God's sakes. I'm just, you know, at a steady pace. And I have my gym towel in front of me, and my gym towel falls off the little bar in front of me on the treadmill. So my first thought was, oh my God, it's going to go in the treadmill, and it's going to like break the treadmill, and I'm going to end up paying $3,000 for this treadmill at the gym. So I quickly look down and turn around and make sure it's not going in. Well, when I look down and turn around, I misstepped, and I went flying off the back of the treadmill. So when in the process of flying off the back of the treadmill, I guess I tried to catch myself, and I broke my middle nail off. But I didn't just break the acrylic nail, I broke my whole fingernail off. So as I'm laying on the ground trying to figure out what just happened and how I ended up on the ground, my finger's bleeding all over the place. And there's a lady next to me on the treadmill, and she goes, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm like, yep, this just happens to me all the time. Like, this is just my life. So she was kind of laughing, and then the lady behind me is like, it's okay, I did that a couple weeks ago. I fell off the treadmill, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one. But I got back on the treadmill and I did my whole workout. So needless to say, in the next video that you see, I'm going to have a Band-Aid on my left hand because that's where my nail is missing. And when I say my nail is missing, like half of my real nail is missing. So it was really fun yesterday, and it was really funny when I was telling the lady next to me, like, yeah, this is just like my life. This happens all the time. And I didn't mean like falling off the treadmill happens all the time. I just meant like this is my life. Like, I just get thrown off of treadmills. I end up on the floor. I'm constantly tripping and falling and twisting my ankle. The name Chaotic Mom is really my name. I swear to you. And on that note, I'll give you guys some music now. Since I can't use like ink for this project because I don't have any ink at my Dollar Tree, and I wanted to keep it true, like free in Dollar Tree, that's why I'm using the watercolors to kind of edge the papers to give it, you know, that black and brown distressed look. I'm also taking these more sturdy tags and pieces of mail and putting them onto colorful paper so I can decorate those, but I wanted a strong base for them, so that's why I was using these tags and the things from the vet and things like that to make the tags stronger. So now I'm just taking some of this colorful paper and covering up the envelopes so I can make tuck spots for all those tags to go into. Okay, so I'm going to slow this part down and explain what I'm doing now since I'm going to be putting in the binding system. So you have a couple options for binding systems, and like I said, I was going to do something called Stack the Deck, but I went ahead and decided to do a Twine binding system. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the length and width of your spine, and you're going to want to cut a piece of paper like I did, this blue piece of paper. Then you're going to want to measure out to see where you want your punches to be. Now, I have 3 signatures, which is 3 individual little booklets that I'm putting into here. So I wanted to make sure that my 3 holes were an equal distance away from each other. So when you looked at the back of the spine on the outside of the book, it looks real nice and neat because the 3 strings are going to be equal distance from each other, and it's just going to line up and look nice. So that's what I'm doing here. You take the width of your spine and divide it by however many sections you have, otherwise known as signatures, and that's where you mark your lines and your little dots to punch on. So the line is the distance from the top of the spine to where I want the holes to be, and then I do the same thing underneath, and then I measure the distance between the holes also. So that's what I've got here. Now, if you wanted to do some on the top and some on the bottom and some in the middle, you could do that, but I just didn't feel that was necessary because I'm using cotton twine, and cotton twine's really, it's heavy duty. So now I'm punching a hole where I've got my marks. This is like a 1/8 inch hole punch, and I really should have used a regular size, but I don't have a regular size. I have no idea where it went. So I'm just using this 1/8 one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that there, and now all I'm doing is I'm going to mark with a pen where those holes are in my actual spine of my book. So that blue piece is nothing more than a template. So I'm counting out now how many pages I want in each signature. I love to do different varying sizes of pages like you see here. I've got a little rectangle, I've got a square, I've got all these pages that are of varying sizes. If that's going to bother you, then make sure that you have all your pages the same size. I know some people are very particular and they want all of their pages to match in their signature, but I feel like this is a junk journal, and so when I think junk journal, I think mismatch, I think haphazard. So that's why I pick things that are of different sizes. I pick papers that are of different texture. I like to include some really thick cardstock, like that purple right there has almost a like a string art feel. Like when you take string and you just lay it on a piece of paper with some glue. That's what that purple one feels like. It's real bumpy, and I just really love the texture. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm taking these and fold them in half to make the signatures, and then you'll see how I lay the template on the pages and mark my pages that way with the hole according to which hole they're going in. So there's 3 holes, and this is my first signature, so it's going into the first set of holes, top, bottom. And that's how I'm going to lay my template down. So my template is going to make the spine holes and the holes in the signatures line up. I hope that makes sense. If you need any more clarification, please ask me. But I'm keeping it in real time right now so you guys can see what I'm doing. It might make the video a little bit longer, but I'd rather you guys be able to see how I'm doing it as opposed to just fast forwarding it and making the video shorter. So I hope that helps. Also, however big you want your signatures, totally up to you. I tend to stay on the 6 to 10 page for each signature, just because I know when you start embellishing those signatures or adding art to them, if you're using this as like an art journal, it's going to get thick. And so if you just keep to between 6 and 10 pages for each signature, if you're doing a 3 signature book, then usually by the time you get done embellishing, you can fill up, you know, easy a 2 or 3 inch spine. If you want to be super precise about this, then you can go ahead and clip the pages together after you get done folding them. Clip the pages together with like a clamp or some of the large jumbo paper clips to keep everything lined up. But I don't usually do that. Sometimes I do if I want it to be exactly all the pages exactly the same size. But this one, they're not the same size. So I don't really care where they, you know, fall in the book, if you know what I mean. They can be these short ones can either be on the top or on the bottom of the page. And here you see I'm making my marks, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to hole punch all of these right in the center of those marks. And even though that little paper right there, sorry, I'm getting stuck on my words. That little piece of paper right there, even though it's only got one hole in it, it's still going to be held in by the twine, and you'll see that as soon as I start threading the twine. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to punch all of my holes in all of my signatures with that template, and then I'll go back in and start binding them. So now I'm just centering the template in the middle of the spine and making sure that I'm right in the center and either side is going to bend up properly. And now I'm marking all of my holes that I'm going to hole punch now, and then we'll be ready for binding with the twine. Okay, so we're ready to start threading the twine through the signatures and the book. So in order to help me, I took some of this glue and I just kind of ran it on the edge, because the edge of this cotton twine is so frayed. If you have a big upholstery needle, which I do, but it came in a bookbinding kit, and I didn't want to use a bookbinding kit because I'm trying to stay all free or Dollar Tree, and I have never seen a bookbinding kit at Dollar Tree. So if you have one around the house, please use it for this, because it's going to make it so much easier to thread. But I didn't have it. I mean, I have it around the house, but I'm not using it because I feel like not everybody has it. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like an upholstery needle is not something that everybody has lying around the home, even though I do. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just threading them all by hand. And you go through the pages and then through the back of the spine, and then you're going to take that same twine and you're going to run it down the spine and back up through all the holes and all the pages. Now I will tell you, see, I got confused here for a minute because it is confusing. So I will tell you that when you're going down through these pages like I am right now, much easier than when you're having to thread it back up through. So just watch what I'm doing real close, And this is not foolproof. I mean, you can definitely mess it up, but at the same time, I feel like the only way you can really mess it up is by skipping papers. So as long as you're sure to get at least the top or the bottom of one of those pages, then it's going to be secured because it's going to tie in the center and it's going to hold them all. You'll see, really nice. So when you pull this through, you see on that left-hand side, I left enough twine to tie everything off. So you want to leave, I don't know, I'd say about a length and a half of your spine. You want to leave that much twine hanging there so you have something to work with when you tie it off in the center. So here's the more difficult part where I'm going up through the book and I have to find all the holes and thread them all through individually. This purple page was one that only had one hole in it, so that's why it was sitting off to the side. But you see how that yellow paper and the purple paper, they've only got one hole punched. But it's okay because we're going to tie it off in the center. Okay, so in my opinion, this is the hardest part of the book because this is like what makes or breaks the signature. When I say that, what I mean is you have to pull these two strings tight enough to get them tied tight to keep everything in the signature in the book, but you can't pull too tight or you'll pull right through the papers. I hope that makes sense because this twine will rip right through those thin papers. So it's just a balancing act. It has to be tight enough to hold all the papers in, but not so tight that you're going to rip through your pages. So I always give it either 2 or 3 knots to make sure that it holds really tight. And then when you're done with that, you can either cut all the tails off of the string or you can leave them hanging to add beads or charms, something like that. I always leave them hanging, but you're more than welcome to clip both of the ends of the twine to make it nice and neat tie in the middle. But I don't do neat junk journals, so I keep the excess hanging. Another reason I really love this binding system like this is because you can literally slide papers in there. So you can add on to these signatures. So I think later on in the video you might even see me do that. I think I forgot a page somewhere and all you have to do is just slide it right underneath all of those pages and boom, you can add more pages to each signature. So I'm going to show you one more time. This is sped up, but I'll show you one more time how I put in this last signature. So here's our book with all of our pages in it, and you can see on the spine there, I don't know if I'm going to show the spine, but on the spine, on the outside, all of those strings are equal distance apart. They look really nice. It doesn't look like it's ragged or jagged. They look really, really nice. And now all we have left to do is go in and embellish all of our pages. So here is a flip through of what we've got. And trust me, everything's in there nice and tight. And so now we're just going to go in and we're going to embellish all these beautiful pages. I did forget this paper bag, so as you can see, you just slide it right on through. You can either put it in the center or you can put it on the back end of the pages. So it's super easy just to add more pages, more tuck spots, things like that in here. So what I'm doing here might look kind of strange. I took the page and I flipped it up in half, and then I cut a tag to the same shape as the little tuck spot that I made. But I think that's what's really fun about junk journals, because there's like no right or wrong to what you're doing. And so even though this isn't the way you normally create a pocket in a junk journal, I don't really care because it's a junk journal and it turned out cute. Okay guys, so I'm sorry, I realized I never did a final flip through on this journal. So this is days later, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a flip through for you because I forgot to record it. So this is how the journal turned out. I really like it. I think it's super cute. I made a little pom-pom here with just some of the white yarn that I used for the closure. And then I made a little tassel. It's little tassel. It should be fuller, but it's not. And then here's the strings from the binding system that I usually leave out. I might put like a couple red beads or pink beads on there. I think that would be really cute. All right, let's flip through it. So we got our closure system, which is just our white yarn. If you have ribbon, you can use that. That usually looks really pretty. I like to use the crinkly ribbon, actually the crinkly seam binding. But If you have yarn, that'll work too. Okay, so you open it. This is a cute little window here. That's the window to the box. And then you open it up and you've got all sorts of good stuff. We've got a tuck here with just a journal card. You can glue some paper to this so you can write on it a little bit better. But that's one of our tucks there. And then we've got writing page here with a little embellishment. Writing page, room for a picture. Plenty of room here. Here's that little tuck spot that I was talking about. I love it. I don't care that it's like an unusual shape. I think that adds to it, honestly. Plenty of room for writing, gluing things in here if you want to make it a glue book. This is a thicker page because it's that envelope that I put tons of paper on, so it's kind of thick, which is good, I think. Another little tuck spot here. So lots of tuck spots with opportunities to journal, opportunities to put big pictures, little pictures. And I think that's what a junk journal is all about. We are not even through our first signature yet. There we go. On to the second signature. Another tuck. And I glued this little, you know how a sandwich bag opens? Well, I just glued this part together because I only wanted it to have one tuck spot. You could leave it unglued and make it 2 tuck spots. Another tuck spot with the back of the sandwich bag. Now you can go and embellish all this and cover it with beautiful paper. I just didn't do that for whatever reason. I like the organicness of junk journals. You don't have to cover everything. You don't have to make it look beautiful. You just have to make it look natural and, you know, aged and vintage. Another little tuck spot here with a tag. Another tuck. Another tuck. As you can see, I'm a lover of tuck spots. I always have them. Pockets, tuck spots, all that. This is a double little pocket here, so you got the pocket, but then you have a pocket within the little tag too. So, double tuck spot. Little place for journaling here. And that's it. That is the journal, and it turned cute. Look at how cute it is. So grab you some envelopes, get you some little $1 scrap paper. I'm sorry, $1.25 from the Dollar Tree now. Print you out some fussy cuts, you know, fussy cut some images out, or fussy cut images out of magazines if you don't want to order them and print them. Cut them out of magazines. I'm going to be doing that in my next art journal. I'm going to be using some magazine cuts. So this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video series that I had going on here. And I hope that it encourages you to take some stuff around your house, put yourself together a little junk journal here, and use it as an art journal, use it as a diary, use it as a glue book, memory keeping, anything. It's up to you how you want to use your book. All right, guys, take care, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.